Hi, welcome back to another fault analysis workshop video where each week we take a common fault that your pupils might make. We show you a picture, you study the picture, you then download your fault analysis worksheet, which is double-sided. You can get that from the in the description below. Yeah, so download that, print a copy, and now I'm going to show you a picture and then we're going to work our way through it. So let's just put the picture up there now. So I'm just having a look at that. So our pupil, our learner, is in the blue car turning right into the side road. We've got a bus behind us. We've got a red car coming towards us. There's a pedestrian looking to cross the road across that junction. And yeah, so that's our picture. So what's happening here is that our pupil is turning right. So our pupil has decided to turn at this moment in time. So that's the scenario. So now what I want you to do is pause the video, fill out your worksheet, and then we'll meet you back here in a minute and we'll go through it together. Great. Okay, so welcome back. So what we need to do now is we need to look at what is the fault. So if you've watched these before, you know that we're going to use a DT1 to help us identify correctly what the fault is, and then mark it on the DL25. Okay, so let me open up my DT1. So I'm looking at section 1.07, definition of markings on the DL25. So I'm now going to scroll down that and have a look, because you want to read through this, because there could be lots of choices that you think this fault might sit into. But I'm going to go down to number 22, judgment. And within judgment, we've got crossing traffic. So crossing traffic, turning right across the path of oncoming traffic. So that's a good fit for this fault. Okay, so that's where this fault would sit on the DL25. Okay, so now what do we think? Is it a driver fault? Is it serious or is it dangerous? Well, look at the picture. It looks a bit close, doesn't it? That the blue car, the learner, is turning in front of that red car. I think if they were to turn there, the red car is going to have to brake quite hard, and if the red car is not concentrating, we're going to have a collision. So so we will put others in actual danger, hence dangerous fault. If I said serious before, I was wrong. If we turn at this point, it's going to be dangerous because we are actually going to put people in danger. Let's go back to the form. So the next section on the form is to draw it. Well, on this occasion, you don't need to draw it because we've provided you the picture. The picture's given. But drawing is a good skill that you use with your pupils when analysing faults after something's just happened, to discuss what was going on, to recreate the scene, so to speak. Or you might use drawings in your briefings in anticipation of what will happen, so sort of to brief pupils. So good skill to have, or you'll have a visual aid presenter, whatever you use, iPad. But the application I've used for my pictures is an application developed by Neil Beaver, which you can get on the App Store. So that's a really good way to do it. So if you want to get that, I'll put the link for that in the description below as well, so you can grab that. Okay, so let's move on to the risks. So I've already talked about the risks there. So just to re-emphasise that, yeah, we're in real high risk of collision with the red car. Also, we need to talk about that pedestrian. So I'm just thinking that if I was that pedestrian going to cross the road, be walking towards the road, I'd look over my shoulder, see the red car coming along, and think, okay, well, he's not indicating to come into this road. There's a learner car over there. Well, they're obviously going to wait, aren't they? So I've got time to step into the road and cross, potentially. Yeah, and then I would, if I was the pedestrian, would have one hell of a shot as I step out and think, oh my God, he's coming. So there's potential risks that we put the pedestrian into as well. So there are our risks. And I've already said if something was following the red car, we've got them in risk as well. Imagine if there's a bus following the red car. Is a bus going to want to brake heavily with all these passengers, maybe getting up out of their seats because we're coming up to a bus stop? Okay, so intervention in this scenario, think about where that picture is. On that occasion, if I was the instructor or the examiner, I would be on them brakes and I would prevent the blue car, the learner, from going across the path of oncoming traffic. So we need to physically stop. Now, yes, as a good instructor, you always think about what was happening just before that. So you think about the verbal intervention, the Q&A that you could use to try and get inside your pupils' heads as to what they were thinking of doing. So, for example, if I was the instructor in this car and we were going, like, take the next turn on the right, please, and I'm thinking, do you know what? I've got a feeling about this. I think they might be trying to go on this one. I would say to my people, what are you thinking? Are you going to wait for that red car? Or are you going to go before it? Oh, I'm going to go. No, you're not. No, wait. So you can get there before the nuclear option of on the brakes. So yeah, so that's our intervention. So now if we flip over the page to look at the analysis, so now we're thinking about the reasons. Why might your pupil do this? So this is, you need to explore as many ideas as possible. At this point, you just do this in your head. Think of sort of thinking like the pupil, think as the pupil, and think of as many reasons you can think about. When you're with your pupil, you would obviously ask them a series of questions to try and determine what is the root cause of why they did what they just done. So let's just kind of go through a few that I've got. So they might have been confused about priority. For some reason, they might have thought they had priority over the red car. And they decided to go. Another reason, the pedestrian may have waved them on. The pedestrian might have said, "Come on, you go," and they thought, "Yeah, nice one. The pedestrian knows what they're talking about. I'll go and just nip in front of the red car." So they might have been confused, a poor awareness and anticipation. They thought they had enough time. So they saw the red car and thought, well, yeah, I've got time. I'm in a car. I can get across there. I'm going to be quick. So I've got enough time. Another reason, they were worried about the bus behind them, because in our picture, we've got a red bus behind us. And they might think, well, I don't want to stop and hold up this bus. If I just get in there, then the bus can keep going and everyone's going to be happy. So there's 4. I'm sure you've got a lot more. So now in the remedial action, we pick one of those and then we just kind of explore it and think about how we would fix that problem. So I'm going to pick that the pupil thought they had enough time. So this kind of goes back to the actual fault itself, judgment crossing the path of oncoming traffic. It's a misjudgment, isn't it? They've misjudged the situation. So this kind of goes to the root cause. So they thought they had enough time. So what would I be doing after the event? So this is very reactive because they've already done it. I'd be explaining about how you can judge it, helping them doing that. And the way I would want to do that is use transferable skills. So think that most of your pupils will have been pedestrians and they would have crossed the road without getting run over, hopefully. They should be quite good at that. So we could use that as skill. So a good one that we would use in this situation that's transferable, that if you would have enough time to walk across the road, not run, but walk across the road, then you could drive across. So we call that walk across, drive across. And if we look at the picture, when we talk about walk across the road, we're not talking about walk. So I'll just check that's still recording. We're not talking about walking across just half the road from the centre point to our junction. We're talking about walking across the whole width of the road, both lanes, because that will give us a little bit of wiggle room, and we're not just cutting everything fine right on the edge of things. So it is walk across the whole road, not run across, walk across. And that would be a good transferable skill for your pupil to put into practice. We've given our pupil a way of judging it. We've explained this to them. We've had a conversation. Of course, now what we need to go do is put it into practice, give our pupil the opportunity to turn right with oncoming traffic and let them make the decision. So we could tap into LADA, the look, assess, decide, act, and we could agree what level of help we're going to give our pupil to do this. Because this has just followed a safety critical incident, my inclination would be to support them, to help them to prevent another situation like this. So Q&A on approach, as I mentioned earlier. So, okay, I would say to my pupil, I'd like you to take the next road on the right. We've got some oncoming traffic. I want you to tell me if you can see a gap and what you're thinking of doing. Oh, I'm thinking of going before that bus. Okay, I agree. You've got enough time. You could walk across, you could drive across. Great. Or, no, I disagree. I would wait. So then we could work with them. And as we practice more of those, we can hand over more responsibility until our pupil is getting it. Something I used to do with my son when I first was training to become a driving instructor. My son was about 9, 10. And I would, because I was keen to sort of start putting all this stuff into practice, whilst I was driving and he was the passenger, I would get him to make decisions. I'd say, like, we're going to turn right. What would you do? Would you go in front or behind us? And he'd be like, oh no, I'd go. And I'd think, yeah, good decision. Or no, I would wait. That's not enough room. What if there had been a pedestrian crossing the road? Had we have seen that, we need to sort of slow down, look, assess. And so I was able to sort of do that with him. So by the time he got in the car, he was really like, decision making was good. Do it at a roundabout as well. He used to decide, like, are we going to go in behind the green car, Dad? Just slow down. And then I'd get him to telling me what gear to take. It's like, slow down. Yeah, go behind the green car. I go, what gear do I need? They go, like, second. So really good. So, you can sort of practice these things, even if you're not actually as a supervising driver. You could be driving and you get somebody who can't drive to sort of think about the decisions. Because decision making is a big part of driving. It's just more than the actual physical skills of driving a car. That arguably is quite easy to teach, but making good decisions and judgment is another matter. So that's just an idea. Try that. And finally, on our little form, we're going to look at the questions. So the questions I would be asking my pupil after this event. So first question I would be saying, the first thing I would say is that I would like you to pull up on the left. And I would pick the spot, somewhere safe, somewhere quiet that we can have a chat and just talk, but quite soon after this event, because it is a safety critical. So once we've pulled up, I would want to say to my pupil, do you understand why I dual controlled you? Or do you understand why I pressed the brake there? Or do you understand why I intervened? Whatever the way you word it is fine. But you need to get your pupil to understand that, yes, that you did it. And then when you press the brake at the time, you would say that I've just braked for you there. I just stopped the car. I've taken control. I did it because of that red car. So at the time you would have said that you just took control, and then there would be the point that you say, well, I'm going to hand back control. That is another subject about intervention and what you do after it. But here we've pulled up, we're somewhere safe. So I would just re-emphasize, do you understand why I stopped you there? Yeah, was it because of the red car? Yeah, I just want to understand, what were you thinking? Did you think you had enough time? Tell me right in your own words what you were thinking. So let them open up and see what they think. So if they say, yeah, well, I thought there was enough time, or the pedestrian waved me on, we want to ask that open question to see what they say. So let's say, it is a timing issue. They misjudged it. So then I would sort of pick up on their transferable skills, as we've already mentioned. So I'd say, well, okay, so how would you judge that? How would you judge if you've got enough time to cross that road without slowing that red car down? And if they're like, oh, I don't know, I just thought I had enough time. Okay, well, we didn't. I definitely wouldn't have gone there. It wouldn't have been safe. So what about when you're a pedestrian, if you were crossing the road? If you were as a pedestrian there, would you have crossed the road in front of them? Oh, no. Oh, why not? Well, because you need more time if you're a pedestrian. If you're in a car, you don't need, so you can get across there quick. Well, actually, no, because the speed we would turn into that road is about the same speed as a walking pedestrian. So we could, transfer that. And then they say, yeah, so I misunderstood that. So I get that now. I need more time to make that crossing. So yeah, so that's sort of how I'd be Q&Aing them. I'd be asking about their, how do they make their decisions to tap into LADA, getting some kind of agreement going forwards, how much help they need, and then would go out, hit the road and do that. I had actually prepared some like full question and answers, which I've actually put on a sheet here. Rather than me read that for you, I'm going to put that on the screen so you can have a little read, pause it, and then you can sort of take that away. So that's something you can just have a little read through. That really brings us to the end of this video. So as always, thanks for watching. If you like the video, like it. If you'd like future content, subscribe and you'll get that. And always comment, because comments are good. Say what you like, what you'd like to see next, what you disagree with, or your personal experiences. Leave comments, that's great, and I'll see you in the next video.